Welcome to the North Texas PodConnect. The North Texas PodConnect is a revolutionary way to network that combines the best of traditional networking with the power of the digital world. By utilizing the power and reach of radio, live streaming, and podcasting, and by leveraging the Difference Media LLC's expansive audience of over 4 million viewers and listeners, PodConnect enables professionals to connect with like-minded individuals, share knowledge and experiences, and build personal brands through a unique approach that opens doors to new opportunities, business relationships, consumers, and community leaders. So, sit back, relax, and turn up the volume as some of PodConnect's charter members discuss the impact networking through podcasting has had on helping them grow and expand their businesses. Because PodConnect starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the North Texas PodConnect, our inaugural chapter, powered by the Difference Live Stream Radio Podcast. I am Nathan Smith with Employer Financial Group. Excited to be here to host another week. We're on week, I believe, 4 or maybe 5. Am I getting confused now? You'll have to correct me on that, Lyndon. But excited to be here, excited to be a part of what is going to be blossoming into a multi-chapter networking group that utilizes podcasting as its medium. And we'll talk more about why that's such a integral part of what we're doing and why we feel it's so valuable. But a big thing is, when we're meeting with people face to face, which is obviously a part of this, you have to, bring that to the forefront and then grow through interactions outside of what we're doing here, of course. But you get a chance to meet more people through a lot larger audience. To utilize bringing on guests and adding value immediately, right? Everybody wants to be able to talk about their business. They want to get valuable insights and growth tips and business tips. And one of the things we've always said is businesses fail, not because they don't have a good product or they don't know what they're talking about, but simply not enough people know what they do. And so we want to provide a platform for our members of PodConnect, but also the guests that they bring on. And so we've got a number of phenomenal guests and members that are going to be on today. But I want to talk, I'm going to bring on Lyndon here for just a moment, who not only is the producer of our shows right now, maybe not forever, right? But this has been a brainchild of his for a long time. He's been bringing the difference into the mainstream that it is now on internet radio, through Facebook, YouTube, all the above. And just has a passion for bringing people together, connecting folks. And I want you to talk about, Lynn, in just a moment, and where we're going with PodConnect. But also, because this first month, we've spent a lot of time talking about networking in general, why we believe this is a good platform. Our topics today are really about business growth, but they're kind of high level. And so first of all, if you'll talk for a second about where Texas PodConnect is going, but then also over the next couple of months, how we're going to really hone in on some topics that I think are going to bring some extremely insightful value to people.
Well, thank you, Nathan. I appreciate that. And everybody watching, thank you for tuning in. We're happy to have you today. We're going to have some great members of our PodConnect. And so, yeah, I mean, Nathan, you've been with me. Brian's been with me since almost day one. And what we have learned through the years of doing our podcast is that there is an opportunity to utilize social media in a way that can build very, very large audiences. We built an audience of over 4 million people in the last a little over 3.5 years now. And so most all of us as professionals have been at some point in time a member of some networking organization, and it served a great purpose. And they still serve a good purpose, but there's an opportunity to take what is within those networking those networking groups and organizations, utilize those fundamentals, and combine that with today's technology, and really expand our reach and our brand relevance. A lot of people know about brand awareness, but they don't understand brand relevance. And so, who we're connected with, and who people see that we're connected with. What's the old saying? You're the sum of the 5 greatest people, or the 5 people you might not be great people. You're the sum of 5 people you hang out with, right? And so utilizing podcasting and live streaming in a manner that helps us all get the message out to our communities, as well as connect with the people that we need to build strategic partnerships with, kind of is like, killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest part of it is, like you said, utilizing what's already good about networking and connecting with people, which is you know, if you want to grow a business, if you want to bring in clientele, if you want to bring in partners, um, you really have to do both. And so this is just a way to not only streamline that process, but expand it at the same time. And so there's still a legwork that has to be done in the relationships that were built here, the guests that we bring on, you know, sharing of our shows and expanding in that regard. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's relevance is a huge thing, because there's a lot of things that are relevant that aren't very important, if that makes sense. But why do they appear to be relevant? Because they're in front of us all the time. And so that's how we get stuck watching videos that they're not any
Kardashians.
Yeah, that we get stuck watching things that don't produce income sometimes.
Well, and that's kind of what
but they're relevant because they're there, right?
I'll go back to that. When the light bulb for me first went off, watching social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, the first thought I had is, how are these idiots becoming so well known?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's because that's where it started, right? It was just it was a circus. And so I started thinking, if idiots can do it, if people with just very little substance within their lives can do it, why can't professionals do the same thing? And so I really studied. I'll be honest, I've not watched very much of the Kardashians. I watch a little bit to try to figure out what it is that they're doing and why is it so effective, because you can learn something from them if you're looking at how to do this. But that's really where it started. And so I believe strongly, and we've proven it, Nathan, over the last 4 years, that podcasting, live streaming is a more effective and more efficient way to enhance and expand your circle of influence than almost anything that we have available to us right now.
True.
And so now I'll talk a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. Why is PodConnect different? Okay, obviously the live streaming and the podcasting, but a lot of it's going to be the topics that we're discussing that other networking groups aren't discussing in a deeper level, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. This is my experience. The networking groups that I have attended and been a part of focus on networking, right? They focus on introductions. I can't even say they focus on relationship development, because I think it's too watered down. They focus on introductions and why you need to be out in front of people, and you know, happy hours and networking events and all the other things. And one of the things that they fail to do is talk about follow-up. So we go out, we pass out a business card, and then we go and we sit back, you know, for a week or two and wait for the phone ring because we passed out 100 business cards like we were taught to do 20 years ago. And the phone doesn't ring because there is no follow-up. We're waiting for everybody else to follow up, and we don't follow up. You're going to need the same thing with podcasting. But to get away from that conversation, we want to focus on today's technology and the importance of utilizing today's technology with the old school fundamentals of relationship development. So we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence and how to integrate that into your business, and not automate it to the point that you have a robot company, but automate it to the point that can accelerate the relationship development that you're already trying to create. We're going to be talking about risk management. Every small business owner out there needs to understand there are a lot of risks associated with being the business owner. And one of the things that we need to do is manage that risk. If you don't have a good risk management process in place, you are one mistake away from going back into the corporate world. The other thing we're going to be talking about, and we've got one of the gentlemen on today that's going to be talking about that, is business funding. You know, Nathan, you've heard me say this before. One of the biggest challenges of any small business is obscurity. You know, if not enough people know who you are and what you're doing, you're going to struggle. The other thing is being underfunded. Okay, a lot of us are underfunded, and we're limited on how we can grow our business because we're having to wait for the next deal to go through before we've got enough money to take the next step. So we're going to talk about funding, and then also the digital marketing, because it amazes me today when I talk to people, how many people are like, yeah, I just don't do Facebook. I just don't do LinkedIn. I just don't do social media. That's just a big waste of time. And if you're using it for the wrong reason, if you use a hammer as a hatchet, then you're wasting your time. If you're using it as a tool, as a service media tool, not a social media tool, then you can be effective, very effective in getting your brand out there and connecting with people that are searching. I mean, YouTube is the second largest search engine on the planet, right behind Google. And if you're not using it, then you're missing out.
Yeah, and I think what I love about the topics that we're going to talk about here over the next couple of months is just that the what businesses really need, right, is the details, because small businesses, they excel at certain things and struggle at other things. And so at the end of the day, if you can get take social media, for instance, that's a big bear for a lot of people. Like it scares them. They don't understand it. So if we can provide some value there and really some step-by-step instruction, or at least enough to get people kind of off the bench and into the game as far as social. And I love service media. That phrase itself gives you a whole different perspective shift on, you're not there just to make friends. You're there to provide a service, and then in so doing, make those connections. And if you approach it like that, I mean, it's like anything else. There's good and bad in pretty much everything you can do. And so you can either, get frustrated with social media. It's always time, stupid people, blah, blah, blah. Or you can say, well, how can I utilize this to bring about what I want to do? And so we've been doing a lot of that in our industry, in our business. But it's something that a lot of topics, in fact, people don't want to take the time to learn. And thus that area of their business gets overlooked, and they struggle. And so we're about to go to our first break here in just a moment, but 2 minutes before we do, I want to bring in Paul Fisher, who is a member of PodConnect, great guy out in Frisco, mortgage guru. We'll just leave it at that. And give you a quick second to introduce yourself, Paul. And I want to bring in everybody. We'll have to introduce our other guest after the break, but I'll let you introduce yourself first, a little bit about what you do, and then we'll jump into some more questions on the other side of our break here in a moment. You're on mute, Paul.
All right, there we go. I was in backstage. I think Lyndon probably muted me. But no, great to be on. I'm Paul Fisher with Certainty Home Lending. We're a direct mortgage lender, so not a broker. So everything we do is, for residential and investment properties. Take it all the way from origination to closing and funding. So one great part of being part of this group is what we bring to the table, and then locally the groups that you're in with as well. I'm a part of the Frisco Chamber, and I serve on their ambassador team. So I try to stay local with my market and provide like Nathan said, provide service and value to the people that I interact with every day.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait. We've been on before a couple times, and you've been a valuable part of the difference overall with other shows. So love to get your insight, especially with our topic this month, as far as business development strategies around that. And so I know you'll be able to offer a lot. So let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll introduce Jim Thomas and Luke Matthews, and then we'll be off to the races.
Awesome. And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Are you a small business owner who is struggling to make ends meet? Do you need funding to grow your business? If so, then you need to talk to Jim Thomas at Business Funding Solutions. We offer fast, easy, and affordable financing options for small businesses of all sizes. We have helped thousands of businesses get the funding they need to succeed, and we can do the same for you. Our financing options start at $5,000 and go all the way up to $5 million, with no minimum credit score required. And with our 60-second application and 24-hour funding, you'll get the money you need quickly so you can focus on growing your business. Don't wait any longer. Contact Jim Thomas today at 214-629-7223 or find him on our website at www.thedifferenceradio.com. And don't forget to tell him you heard about him on The Difference. Are you a small or large business owner? Do you need insurance to protect your business and help manage risk? If so, then you need to talk to Stephen Pine with Patterson & Associates Insurance. Patterson & Associates offers a wide variety of commercial insurance policies to fit the needs of businesses of all sizes. We understand that every business is different, which is why we offer customized policies to meet all risk management needs. So what are you waiting for? Contact Stephen and Patterson & Associates Insurance today and get the peace of mind that comes with knowing your business is protected. Visit www.piainsure.com or call 972-669-2431 to learn more.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111.
Well, speaking of Paul, that was perfect timing. Paul, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I am glad to be speaking with you here. And I know, like, as we jump into our topics here in just a moment, I look forward to your insight. But I want to bring in the rest of our guests, starting with someone that you also heard in our commercial break, Mr. Jim Thomas. Good morning. It's still morning, yes. Good morning, sir. Welcome. How are you doing today? Barely morning. Now, before we get into a little bit about what you do, you have a unique relationship with Lyndon because you have helped him get to where he's at with your kind of leadership, and he looks at you as a mentor. So first is what kind of dirt do you have on Lyndon? I think that's the question that everybody is really wanting to know.
And I can send over that link. One payment, we'll get it covered, and we'll be happy to talk.
Okay. Obviously joking there with Lyndon, but Lyndon speaks very highly of you, and you've been on the show before. Talk to us. The commercial we talked about business funding. That's kind of what you do, but you've been in business a long time, and I'm looking forward to when we have that specific topic because I know the funding side of business is integral and where a lot of people struggle. But just talk about kind of your experience in the business world, what's brought you to what you're doing now, and just kind of what you've. Just walk us through that process.
Yeah, my large background is in really the realm of consulting with businesses, folks that are looking to get started, or maybe they've gotten started and got off on the wrong track and they might need a turnaround situation. Folks that may have underestimated, which is kind of normal. They've underestimated sales, they've underestimated marketing and the importance of the process of that. We can help put that together for them. And really all the things that go in that to really help drive a business forward. And that led me toward a path as we start to look at what companies need the most. And two of the biggest things that always came out is the marketing, and they need funding, because without the funding, they go out there and they try to bootstrap these operations. All of a sudden now they're not marketing, so they can't overcome, as Lyndon put it, we can't overcome obscurity. Nobody knows who we are. They can't afford to hire the brightest and the best people. They can't afford the best location because they're trying to bootstrap it. And before you know it, they eventually run out of personal funds and they're done. So that's what led us into the funding aspect of it.
So you want to bootstrap, but you got to bootstrap with strategy.
Sometimes bootstrapping can work to a point because, the thing about bootstrapping, because we use that approach frequently when it comes to a turnaround. But, bootstrapping, what it allows you to do is kind of regain control of the company, kind of get your hands around it. Once you get your hands around it, now you need to advance and to expand into the market. And you simply cannot do it without funds. You can get creative sometimes, but by and large, you're going to need funding to be able to do it.
Well, speaking of into the market, somebody that is a huge who really understands markets, marketing, networking. Our friend Matt Kern from Denton. I'm going to bring Matt in and introduce himself. Matt is in the process of starting really our first spinoff chapter up in Denton, and I know that's really coming to fruition here pretty quickly. So if you'll give us an update on that, but then talk a little bit about Denton Does It and what your role is there as we get kicked off here.
Yeah, so we're really excited that we're going to have a Denton chapter now. So we'll be up here in the north area of the North Texas Triangle and showcasing what our community is doing in the Denton area. We got a lot of great people up here, a lot of great businesses. Our networking, our chamber, local businesses coming into the area, and commercial and residential growth is booming, and it's a good thing to see that coming along. Schools are building here. We've got 5 new schools coming to the Denton ISD over the next few years. So, if schools are building, they're not doing that because they need storage space. They need a place for kids, which is great. And so, being right in the middle of it, I work in the real estate market. I work for Freedom Title, and we do residential and commercial closings here in the Denton County area and beyond. And just keeping my thumb on what's going on in real estate. I believe that we should all be networking, and real estate is connected to everything. So it helps me to know what my community is doing, not only being involved in the real estate industry, but also in the business community too, with our chamber and other networking groups. So this being on top of the things that I'm already doing now and being connected to will just have a better reach for the people who are coming to this area looking for best in class. And, that's what I consider myself and the company I work for, and is best in class, and the people that I surround myself with.
Well, I love how you have a passion of really embedding yourself in the business community and the community, at large. And I know, Luke Matthews, another one of our PodConnect members, trying to do the same thing out in Rowlett, running a restaurant that I swear I'm going to get out to and check it out here soon. I was just in Rowlett for Father's Day, and I did not come by. I should have come by. I feel bad about that, Luke. But talk a little bit about what you do, the restaurant that you're running, kind of a franchise model from Louisiana initially, if I recall from last time. But
yes, that's correct.
Excited to hear about how that's going and what's happening out in Rowlett.
It's going good. We keep getting busier and busier every day. It's just as the heat picks up, people are wanting yogurts, but I'm just not, like I said before on the last one that I was on, I'm just knocking on doors, meeting. When I'm going to the grocery store, I got my hat on and my shirt on, and people ask, "What is that?" So it's just very new over here. So it's just having to teach people and let them try something out for the first time, and they've always seemed to come back. So they're really enjoying it. It's just the fact of getting them in the door, and my go-to is always word of mouth. But something else that I'm trying to get really into is the Facebook. We have our Facebook page and our Instagram page, because in Louisiana, they do have those pages as well, but they're not. Louisiana's kind of behind on like the technology of marketing compared to Texas, as I've learned being here for a year now. So it's something that I'm really getting learning really fast.
So when we talked the last time, tell us a little bit about what sets your restaurant apart. I mean, you guys are trying to be a step above in terms of just a deli kind of sandwich place, but talk a little bit about what makes it unique.
So it makes it unique because we're not fast food. We're kind of in between fast food and a nice restaurant, because you're going to get a gourmet sandwich or a gourmet salad or nice yogurts as just a treat at the end of your meal. But we actually put effort and take time into every single sandwich and salad that we're making. And so whenever you look us up and you see a picture of it, you go to a lot of restaurants, you see a picture of their menus, of their food on their menus, and then when they come out, they don't hardly ever look anything like the pictures. And
well,
that's something that that's something that we are really into, is just putting the pictures out there. And then when you come in, you look at it and you're like, wow, this is just like the picture that I saw. So that's a big thing to us, is just taking quality time to make quality food. And it also tastes well at the same time.
Yeah, and I don't want to throw any other sandwich establishments under the bus. I won't mention any by name, but we've all been somewhere where where the person that's making your sandwich, you can just tell, would rather be anywhere else on earth but right there making your sandwich.
Exactly.
So there's nothing more alarming than having someone with such disregard for your food being the person that's preparing it. So, Well, we definitely want to come out there and check it out. So I'm going to bring everybody in here and open it up to a couple of questions as we get into our discussion topic for the month of June. And then I can't wait, as we talked about earlier, to really dive in more granularly, if I can say, that's a tough word to say, in the coming months on specific topics that Lyndon spoke of. But let's just kind of start out in general here. We may only get to one question or two before we go to our next break. But we've been talking about strategic business planning. And I'll start with you, Jim, because funding is obviously a big part of business. When you were looking at it from a larger perspective, you kind of got down to that. This is one of the areas that people struggle the most in. But let's say that you are wanting to get into a business or starting a business, or maybe you've just started a business. Okay, talk about the importance of goals, right, that are both strategic and measurable. And like, how do you even begin to put all that together when you're getting ready to launch a business kind of from the ground up? That's a very loaded question. I realize that. Just give us as high level as you can in about 3 minutes.
That's a great question. I may take longer than 3, so feel free to kind of gong me.
We can bump you the other side of the break. That's fine.
Gong me there if you need to. But so number one, if someone's starting a new business, the very first thing that I would suggest for them is don't go it alone. Don't trial and error this thing. Find someone who's been there and done that. It could be a business consultant, could be your attorney, an accountant, someone you know and trust, but someone who's been there. Do not go it alone, first thing. Now, if we're talking about, okay, how are we going to plan this thing? Here's what I like to look at when we look at a plan of action is let's really look at, from an objective standpoint, our current situation. And I want to highlight the word objective. This is not a kick me session. It's not a make me proud of you session. It's an objective understanding what's working well and what's not, or what do we feel good about? What do we not so feel not so good about? So that's the first thing. We go into goals, and when I look at goals from 2 areas. I look at goals from a number standpoint. Okay, of hey, we need to have this many sales, or this is what we're trying to do. Whatever those numbers are that are going to define those goals. But then I have another set of goals in there that it's going to be things like we need to increase our belief. We need to increase our confidence, our enthusiasm, our level of urgency that we operate with. And so we're going to define what those things are, and then we're going to drive that down into a plan, because this is one of the biggest mistakes when people do this. They make goal and plan the same thing. And they're totally different, okay? And what is the plan to reach that goal to hit those numbers? What is that plan to reach that goal to have more confidence, or to build self-esteem, or to build enthusiasm? What is that plan to do that? And then right beneath that, I call it roadblocks and setbacks, because success is rarely a straight line. Okay. And what happens when so many folks hit these roadblocks or setbacks, it either stops them or it takes them in a different direction. And we want to continue to move forward. So roadblocks and setbacks, identify what they might be that might cause a disruption in your business. And then at the same time, new plan. What is the plan if that happens? Because never do we want to lower the goal. I talk to companies frequently and I say, well, hey, how'd you hit that goal? He goes, simple, Jim, we lowered it. That's not the answer. The answer is you never change the goal. You simply change the plan. So I like the roadblocks and setbacks as that next category for that. So that's in a framework of how I like to look at it.
I think that's great. I want to unpack that a little bit more and bring everybody else in. Let's hit our break here, and we'll be right back on the North Texas PodConnect.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
At Counterculture Frozen Yogurt, we are dedicated to making your taste buds happy and your experience groovy. Whether you are looking for a tasty treat or a healthy alternative to fast food, we have something to quench your craving. Are you craving something a bit more filling? Counterculture Frozen Yogurt also serves some of the healthiest and heartiest sandwiches, soups, and salads that you can find in a quick service environment. Eat in, get your food to go, or call in your order for pickup. Whichever way you choose, we will be happy to serve you. So what are you waiting for? Stop by or give us a call today, and don't forget to tell them you heard about them on The Difference.
Are you stressed about health insurance? Juan Payon at JP Direct Health can help. JP Direct Health offers a wide variety of plans to fit your needs and your budget, and we're here to answer any questions you have. We're committed to providing our customers with the best possible service, and we're always looking for ways to save you money. So what are you waiting for? Get started today and see how JP Direct Health can help you get the health insurance you need. Call Juan today at 214-490-9967.
Are you looking for new or more reliable and affordable home services? Look no further than Utility Connect. At Utility Connect, we understand that every customer is different. Thanks to our partnership with The Difference, our free concierge service seamlessly shops all of your utilities and services for your home or business with one easy phone call. So what are you waiting for? Call Utility Connect today and experience the difference. For more information, give us a call at 469-414-2033 or visit us at www.utilityconnect.net/thedifference to learn more.
And now back to the show.
Well, welcome back to the North Texas PodConnect. Jim, right before the break, you talked about something when you're starting a business in general, before you even get to the planning part, is, don't go at it alone. And I think that's such good advice, because you don't know. I mean, there's a reason why 4 out of 5 small businesses fail. And if you were to break, if you picked any business, you could probably see where it went wrong and how that could have been avoided. And I bet you, and you obviously have infinitely more experience than me, but I bet you've seen that. And if they would have just taken on that mentor or that coach or somebody that's been there before, that would have made all the difference in the world. Well, you, of course, being a coach and mentor of a lot of people, Lyndon being one of them. I want to bring in Lyndon just a moment, just to quickly talk about, when you started your relationship with Jim, obviously as a friend, but also as a business mentor. Talk about the difference that made for you and some of the pitfalls that you were able to avoid. I mean, we all face failure. We all trial and error a lot of things, but having that person to kind of in your corner, I know was integral for you, but just talk about some specifics and why that made such a difference. You're muted.
We're all doing it today. Jim and I first met when I was a salesperson, a rookie, very green salesperson in the fitness industry. And Jim was the first professional coaching person I'd ever met, first situation I'd ever gone through with that. And he really changed some perspective for me. I never wanted to be a salesperson. I thought every salesperson was just like a used car dealer. And I thought that I didn't realize that in just about any profession you have to understand sales, or consulting, or solving problems in some particular manner. So that was the first thing that I learned from him. As I grew and kind of went out on my own and started a fitness center myself, I'd reach back out to Jim because there were some things that I didn't understand and didn't know, and he had the experience. I mean, one of the things that Jim told me one time is that most small businesses are kind of like in their bubble, right? They don't see what's going on outside. They don't see trends. They don't see certain things that other people are doing. They kind of just see what's going on for themselves. Jim, the fact that he was going, all over the United States and in some situations the world, was getting exposure to different challenges and solutions to those challenges. And so you didn't have to necessarily be the pioneer yourself. You just needed to figure out what other people were doing to solve that problem, save yourself some time and money. One of the things that he did for me more than anything else is I have a tendency to be a little stubborn. I was always told that determination is very important in business, and determination can be a good thing or a bad thing, because sometimes our egos won't allow us to move on from something we've pledged ourselves to do. And if you don't have a different perspective and a trusted person in your corner that can say, hey, is this about your ego and being too stubborn to admit you were wrong? or is this something else? And Jim and I always had the relationship where he could just say that to me in a way that made me believe him. Other people I might not, but with Jim, I was like, okay, I'll do it your way. And so I do think that having someone that you can bounce ideas off of, whether it is a coach, whether it's a group like this, I think that's another valuable um, contribution for networking groups when you have the right one and you have the right community where you can sit there and talk to people and have a trusted friend that you're not afraid that they're going to tell you the truth. But I just, anybody that's known me, that's talked to me about business, they've heard the name Jim Thomas before, because he has been one of the most influential and impactful people and within my lifetime. I would consider Jim my college football coach and my dad, and then one other gentleman was my best friend's dad. Those would be the four people that I would say have influenced my life more than anything.
Well, and that just shows too. I mean, with all the different business ventures you've been a part of, and now the difference, kind of your. I know this is where you want to land for long term as we continue to grow, and just thinking about the difference from its infancy to now is incredible. But you see how those relationships and that mentoring has really bled into everything that you do.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important. Another big issue, or not issue, another big something to really think through when we talk about strategic business planning is, knowing your competition, market research, just ways to identify what the market is that you're looking to attract, and what your competition is already doing within that market. And so in the mortgage industry, that's, there's so many mortgage companies, right? In the mortgage industry, that's a really big, lots of competition, I guess I should say. So I'll open it up to both Paul and Matt, and y'all can fight for whoever goes first. But
yeah, I'll jump right in on the mortgage piece. I mean, everyone has rates, everyone has products. But I mean, I think it really comes down to knowing, who you are and what you're offering. And then it's a service piece. I mean, it's a service transaction, and you have to I think of it as like hospitality. I mean, you've got to be in there, answering the phones on the weekends. I mean, my clients and my referral partners, they show houses after work and they show houses on the weekend. And so you've got to be, that's my product that sets me apart from, the mortgage guy down the street is, I answer the phones on the weekend, and they know that I'm available, because you've got to be. That's when your business is there. But I think that's one of those things, to know who you are and know what you're offering and what are you offering that's different. And I would assume the same thing goes with the title business.
Matt, what about you?
I agree with that, because we were just talking about this a couple of days ago. If somebody calls you on the weekend, and it's, if I have a realtor calling me on the weekend, they're usually not just calling to chat. They're calling because they have a need or a question needs to be answered. And why can't I take 2 or 3 minutes of my time and help them proceed with whatever that need or request is to get the ball rolling? Because if it's in my court, it's up to me to do my part. Remember, we're only as strong as the weakest link in the whole chain. And I'm sure not going to be the weakest one. I'm going to stand up there and get it done, especially if it's only a few minutes. In this industry, in the real estate industry, nothing is normal. And so it's all different types of times. In any of this service business, it's customer service. And we know that customer service, especially since COVID, is gone out the door. And so the small things to us are big things to other people.
Well, speaking of customer service, another quite possibly the most competitive market in some sense is food, because everybody eats and everybody has an access to 1,000 different options. So for you, Luke, Matt touched on the customer service part. I mean, you have a huge opportunity there to go above and beyond on what should be kind of a standard for most people, most businesses, but it obviously is not. I think we've all noticed that. But when you're looking at competition, not just restaurants in general, but your specific style, the semi-fast food, but not necessarily the sit-down place, deli-style sandwiches, salads, etc. What are you looking for on, okay, how can we be better in this area? And it's more than just customer service. That should be a given, right? But what do you look for, and what do you try to convey to your people that's going to help you continue to set the trend of, hey, we're doing things differently than our competition because this is what we've seen and this is why this is a better outcome?
It's almost like when I'm training them. I mean, me or one of my top employees are usually the two that are training these people when they're making the sandwiches and making them a certain way. But it's almost like I'm telling them, hey, act like you're making it for your own family. Don't act like it's just somebody, even though it's someone you don't know yet, or it's a new customer that's never been here before. Just act like you're making it for your family. You want it to be the best possible sandwich or salad it can be. Whenever you take it out there to their table, because we bring the food to you, make sure they don't need anything else. And if they do, offer to get it for them. That way they don't have to get up and they're not constantly running back and forth. And then another thing is, like, halfway through their meal, when we have a chair kind of over to the side that one of us is always sitting in, halfway through their meal, we're always going up asking, hey, is everything good? You needing anything, any extra seasonings or dressings for salad? Or maybe some extra, like the Chipotle mayo sauce that we use on most of the sandwiches, if they need any more of that. And very few times do they actually need that. But asking that question really puts a good impression on them, like, wow, they actually do care, because we do. And that's what just most people don't. Whenever you go to a restaurant, unless it's a really nice restaurant where you actually have a waiter, you're not getting that type of service anywhere else.
Jim, I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit, but you've probably mentored a lot of different business types, business people, business owners. For somebody like Luke, who's starting a restaurant, a franchise from Louisiana, but just people in that same field, he's talking about customer service, and that's huge. I mean, especially in today's world. But what are some other areas where you can analyze the competition and get a leg up by paying attention to certain metrics or certain things that may not be, front of mind all the time? I know put you on the spot a little bit, but hopefully you can speak to that.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And so one of the first things that I would suggest in that situation is, because what I'm looking for here is differentiation. Is what can I do that is so different from the consumer's perspective than what everybody else is doing? What is the market not bringing that I can bring to the market? And I'm going to go out and I'm going to shop every single restaurant that I feel is in that competitive realm. What are they doing well? What are they not doing well? What are they not bringing to the market? What does the customer want that they're not getting? I want to create differentiation. As soon as I truly create differentiation, this increases my reach. This increases my ability for higher price points. It increases my ability for success. So in terms of differentiation, that's what I'm looking for right there. And what I would start to look at, okay, is that customer experience. Because what I'm looking to generate here, customer service is important, no question. But what I really want is loyalty. Because when things get bad, when things get tough, customer service, they're going to forget about how nice you were to me. They're going to go to where they were loyal. And we want to help create that customer experience that creates loyalty. And here's what I would suggest for everyone kind of listening right now, everyone watching right now. Let's think fast food restaurants for a second. Think of one that really creates a nice customer experience, something you can think about. Somebody else who just does a fine job, but it's nothing special. You probably can think of one, because normally when I give that example, I was on a call this morning with somebody and I mentioned the name of the restaurant that gave the great customer service. And she goes, Jim, that's exactly the same one I was thinking about. And she lives 1,500 miles away from me. So it wasn't like we were both thinking of the one down the road. But somebody else does a decent job. They don't do anything wrong, but it's that good faith effort to do more than what's expected. And I'd be looking at those things. I'd want to, in a manner of speaking, I want to create this community where people feel like this is a select group, a select organization. I'm treated so much differently here. And that's where I go with all that.
Well, Paul, you can't exactly shop around every mortgage company that might be a competitor. That would be not possible. But
no, and you know, and
go ahead.
I was listening to Luke, talk, and it kind of made me think of something that I'd heard, a long time ago, and it still kind of rings true. So Bob Dedman, who used to, be the president of Club Corp and founded Club Corp, always said, it's a three-legged stool. So his three legs were his membership, revenue, and and his customers. So if one of those stools is out, or one of the legs of the stools is out, the whole thing fails. So I guess you have to kind of figure out what your three-legged stool is, what you're going to stand for with customer service. Kind of like Jim said, if one thing is missing from the customer experience, then is it a failure? I mean, so you kind of have to figure out what your three legs are and make sure that they all hold the stool up together.
Yeah, interestingly enough, talking about the stool is, when you talk about your whole business plan, you see those three areas of things that you've got to bring into reality or the stool tips over. But alongside of that was what Jim said earlier, where, a goal and a plan are not the same thing. And so when we get back from our last break here, I want to talk about that detailed action plan that takes that goal into digestible steps that now are going to actually help you bring that into fruition. So stick around. We'll be right back on the North Texas PodConnect.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Do you want your home or office to sparkle? Then call Elite Diamond Cleaning today. From basic cleaning to deep cleaning, and using only the highest quality cleaning products and equipment, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Our team of experienced cleaners will work quickly and efficiently to clean every nook and cranny, taking care of all the details so you don't have to. With a variety of pricing options to fit any budget, discounts for seniors, military personnel, and students, you can be sure that you are getting the best possible price. Call Elite Diamond Cleaning today at 214-300-9876 to schedule a free estimate. Your home and office is a diamond. Let us get it out of the dust.
In your car, at work, at home, and through your ear pods.
That's why I listen.
2940 The Difference. On air everywhere.
And now back to the show.
Welcome back to the North Texas PodConnect as we wrap up the last 15 minutes alongside our wonderful chapter members, Luke Matthews, Matt Curran, Jim Thomas, and Paul Fisher. Guys, right before the break, we were talking about the importance of taking the goal, right, and turning it into a plan, right? Sometimes, as Jim mentioned, those things get conflated in a sense, and that's not necessarily going to get you where you want to go. So I'll start with you, Matt. When you're talking about you setting up you have a goal in mind, you have something that you want to accomplish. What is your process for getting that into specific objectives, smaller bite-size, actionable items, objectives, etc.? That then, okay, if I accomplish these, the larger thing is going to happen.
Yeah, you really said the outline of it is having your goals down on paper. First thing is, if you're not writing things down, you're not going to remember it. You've got to write your goals down. And then your goals are obviously ideas that turn into these goals, and then breaking that down from that point, meaning what are your action items that you're taking to get to that goal. So if you have a goal and you have action items, the last part of that is a time limit. You have to structure a time limit on the things that you want to get done. If you don't write down, if I have an idea or a goal and I set that goal, I walk through my action items to get to that goal. Well, when am I going to get to that goal? And so I need to have a time on it. So X, Y, and Z, Z meaning my time limit. So once I've set a time limit on it, even if I don't reach that time limit and I have to go past, then I still can restructure that time limit because I know that I'm closer now to acquiring and getting those goals done and moving on to the next. And the other part to setting goals is don't set 100 goals. Remove, 98 of them and get 2 goals done.
Well, I think it's funny you say that because I think sometimes it's the opposite problem is people, well, what's your goal? I want to make money. Well, wow. She's like, oh, obviously, or yeah, I want to grow my business. Okay, great. Well, if you've got to, that's why
gotta be a little more specific.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why putting things on paper are so important. And if you don't mind, you can tell me to shut up and ask this question. But if from the mortgage perspective for both of you guys, if anybody's listening that's in that industry or in any industry, would you guys care to share some actual goals that you have that you've set for your business, maybe for the end of the year or whatnot, and how you came to that? Hey, this is what we need to do. And then maybe even if you don't mind sharing it, some of the small actionable items so people can see that process kind of playing out.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I mean, there's some targeted areas that I wanted to grow my business in. I'm a Baylor grad, and Baylor has changed, quite a bit since I was there. And I would eventually. My goal is to move back there. Don't ask my wife; she doesn't think so. But my goal is for us to live out that way because I've got a lot of friends that move back. So what my action plan is that I need to get some more referral partners out there. And so I've got one, and she and I have done quite a bit of business together. And I've even told her, I said, gosh, if I can, keep growing my business out there, I mean, I'd love to, because I can do business anywhere in Texas, and my business is still, very well up here in Frisco and Plano area. But, there's something about, kind of going back, to a place where I can have maybe a little bit of land and a house, and I've got friends that live out there. So, the action item is I need to, find some more referral partners out there and show them the business that I've done with this one realtor and how we can kind of grow together. So, there's opportunity. And even up to the action plans, that Matt was talking about, I kind of do those for myself every year, or what are the goals that I want to do. And I even take it one step further, and I always do like a SWOT. So what strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I find those are, kind of for me, just so like Matt said, if you got to put it on paper. It's thought provoking. It gives you direction. And it's in front of you, whether it's on the, on your computer screen or on the refrigerator, but it's kind of a daily affirmation, a daily reminder, of where you want to be and where you want to see yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm sure you could say similar things, Matt, but go ahead.
Yeah. Listen, what y'all talked about earlier, having a business coach on your side to help you be accountable to your goals that you're setting, and that you're setting the right goals. Having somebody like that is priceless. We should all look at that investment every year, is being able to see the affordability of the investment of purchasing help, and that help being a business coach that can help us guide us in the right direction. So we are definitely working on our target strategies and not just coming up with an idea and trying to follow that. There's several things that I do in my business is real estate agents and mortgage loan officers are my target audience. That's who I want to hang out with. That's where I'm going to get most of my business from. And so I have to be strategically planning with an attitude of how can I help them build their business, or in whatever way and capacity that is that they'll allow me to. And can I be a benefit to their business? Because if I'm a benefit to their business, guess what? They're going to want to hang out with me. And then so I have to put those plans together. So one of the things that I do is I teach continuing education courses, and I hold that there. I have a room that holds 32 people. And so I'm going to utilize my room to the best capacity I can to have classes 2 or 3 times a month in that room and be able to bring people in and showcase those people who are teaching, and also have sponsors that want to help provide lunch or provide breakfast or anything else and provide information to those other people. So I'm just networking is really all I'm doing. I'm just showcasing other people, but in person, to that circle of people that I'm trying to build around me.
Great point.
Well, Luke, you've got a mentor through your kind of the franchise program from Louisiana, where the restaurant comes from. What are some of the things, the benefits of having somebody kind of help you through opening up a restaurant, but then what are some goals that you guys have set for your specific location, by the end of the year, or by the end of any individual quarter, et cetera?
The best part about having someone that's been in the restaurant business for it being a franchise is when we built the kitchen, they helped us design the kitchen, gave us a good design that just helped streamline everything. But then they also came over and helped us organize stuff, because when you in the restaurant business, you have your refrigerators, you have to have stuff in certain order. Obviously for health codes, but they just help kind of organize it to where it makes it more convenient for you as you need it, rather than it being like, for me, never being in a restaurant business before this, I would have just put stuff wherever it looked right for me, but it would have been complete opposite compared to what they have done. And then for goals, for me, I would like to have, for a short one, would be like 100 tickets a day, 100 sales a day. Now, I mean, I have like roughly 100 people, but 100 people coming in a day right now is about roughly 35 to 40 tickets a day, because it might be a family of 5 coming in. And so 100 tickets would be a good small goal. And then I said before that on the last podcast I was on, I believe it was 500 weekly loyal customers that come in. And right now I've got about probably 100 loyal ones a month, but every bit of like 20 a week roughly in there. And that's just getting everyone that comes in the door, just being as nice as you could be to them. I try my best to remember their names, because to me, if I go into a restaurant and they remember my name, that makes me want to come back as well, because it makes you seem like you care for them, or they care for you. If you're the customer coming in, they recognize you, realize who you are. And then you can kind of get into those more in-depth conversations as you're taking their order as well. To just bring it down to a more personal level. And that's just my goals pretty much right now.
Well, guys, make sure to go get a wonderful gourmet sandwich from Luke Matthews at Counter in Rowlett, Texas. Going to be awesome. Guys, thank you so much for being on today. Matt Kern, Paul Fisher, Jim Thomas had some connectivity issues, fell off a little bit earlier. But as we wrap up here, guys, make sure to, as always, listen on Facebook, YouTube, but newly on Internet Radio, 2940 The Difference. Make sure to share the show. Guys, I can't wait as we go into dive into deeper topics here over the next couple of months. We really get to hear from the experts in all different types of areas. As always, before we wrap up, we will be back one more time this month, next Wednesday at 11:30 sharp, 11:30 Central. But I'm jumping the gun here a little bit, because we probably should ask this next week, but I'm going to ask anyway this week, guys, as we wrap up. Try to do something a little personal, step away from the business topics. But what do you guys either have planned for the 4th of July, or what do you want to be doing if you don't have any plans yet for the 4th of July? Maybe you've been drugged to something you don't want to do, and you can share that to everybody.
I think it depends on, if we're going to get rid of this sauna type weather. I mean, it's kind of the pitch if you have to go outside. So
it's as bad as I ever remember right now. It's crazy hot and humid.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's weather dependent right now. Let's see if we can't get rid of this thing. But yeah, I mean, we'll be available to, I mean, we're going to be working some and off some, so we're going to kind of do a 50-50 split.
Sounds like you want to do something water related, Paul. That there's some sense of not being.
I mean, gosh, with technology these days, you can plug in anywhere. I mean, so. Can always be, have the laptop up and go take a dip in the pool and come back out. So
just don't drop the laptop in the pool. That's the key.
No, that's an expensive. That's an expensive vacation right there.
Matt, what about you?
Yeah, we're just going to hang out at the house. There's going to be actual fireworks show, 500 yards from my house. So I'm going to sit on the back porch, man, and have the water mister going. And feet in the little baby pool for the dog, and cooking out, doing some ribs. So
ribs
that sounds good.
Luke, wrap us up. What are your plans for the 4th?
I'll be here on the 4th, but for vacation, I'm gonna go see my brother that's in Gulf Shores, detailing cars and boats. I'm gonna go see what he's been up to. But I plan to be working here on the actual 4th of July, so. I'm going to have an early vacation.
Well, we're going to go to Broken Bow the weekend before, back in town, because our business month closes on that Monday. But looking to I'm still a sucker for a great fireworks show and the patriotic music and all that. So try to find a good one there. Maybe bring some of our agents and some of our clients out to kind of do a in-person event, which I think we need to do a lot more of. So, well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always, and also, of course, to Jim who dropped off. But again, check us out, 2940 The Difference. Share the show. If you are looking to be a part of a networking group, you want to increase your networking skills, understand the power of what we're doing and what we're about, we'd love to talk to you. You can get in contact with Lyndon Wilson, who is doing all the twisting and tweaking of the buttons in the background and doing everything that takes to run the show. And so appreciate you, Paul, Matt, Luke, Jim, and always Lyndon. Stick around next Wednesday as we wrap up our June topic of strategic business planning. And then we're going to get into the weeds in a good way. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty of all the different things it takes to become successful in today's world, in today's market. So thank you guys to our guest, and we will see you guys next week at 11:30 sharp. I'm Nathan Smith.
Thank you for tuning in and watching our show. If you would like to see our next show, or more shows like this one, just click the QR code and go to show schedules, or just follow and subscribe to our channels to get updates and notifications of this show, and many others like it.